everybody, it is LPS Emily here and welcome back to Spooktober. I love fall, I love everything autumn and cozy. Today we will be making a Halloween spooky witch kitty situation. I actually haven't planned out anything for this pet yet. I've actually had a lot of requests to design the customs with you, and so today we will be designing our Halloween witchy cat together. And to organize my ideas, we will be using Milanote, who is actually today's sponsor. It is really helpful for me to organize everything onto a mood board before I start designing. Milanote is currently one of my favorite tools for visually organizing my creative projects. So let's dive into our design concept. I am first going through the options of the templates for boards, and I think the mood board template will be the most helpful for what I'm creating today. But there is a variety to choose from depending on your project type, including starting from scratch. There are spaces for text, color swatches, and even a subboard which I'll be using to store information on materials and tutorials just to keep it organized and out of the way. I like to upload everything all at once so it sits patiently on the sidebar ready to be sorted. I grabbed some photos and I'm putting them together to get the right vibe. I found these really cute glasses on Pinterest. The thin librarian academia style is really cute, so I'm gonna add that to the board as well. Now that I'm here and looking at everything, I'm thinking I want a less Halloween cat and more Halloween fox? I've been really liking deep oranges lately and I want to lean into that. I had a fun time fiddling with the color swatch tool. I picked a dark orange, a cream, and a cooler toned blue accent as my main colors. I picked a song that matched her vibe and clipped it on as well. I think I'll do some embroidering on the hat, so I'll make a note to remember. I really like to add PNGs to my projects as well because it ties everything together and makes it feel really scrapbooky. Milanote has a web clipper tool as well, so you can take images directly from places like Pinterest without having to save them first. Pretty cute. I think I have a better idea of how I want to design her now. Milanote also has a mobile app that syncs with desktop, so when I'm at the craft store, I am able to check my materials list on my Milanote board on my phone. Make sure you click the link in the description to sign up for Milanote for free with no time limit. Try it out on your next creative project and let me know how it goes. Thank you Milanote for sponsoring today's video, and let's get into designing. I will be the first to admit, this witchy kitty stopped being a kitty a long time ago. She's now more of a traveling witchy fox. I want to do some fur sculpting and an entirely new fluffy tail. I'm not super familiar with working with fabric and I find it to be quite daunting. I want big soft eyes and gentle fluffy features. I messed around with the coloring of her clothes but landed on this dull royal blue because I was inspired by Wirt from Over the Garden Wall. Let's begin the creation of our traveling witch of Thistledore Thicket. This base I'm using is a Generation 2 LPS that was kindly donated to me as she needs a bit of a new life. If you have any LPS that are pretty much toast but need some love, please reach out and I will gladly take them off your hands. I'm just removing both the added paint and factory paint from the pet because she would be lumpy bumpy and lumpy with it underneath. I've gotten into the habit of painting LPS in two halves as I find it a lot easier to get into their nooks and crannies, so decapitation time for her. And since we're giving her a newly luscious tail, we need to cut this hot Cheeto looking thing off her bummy. There we go. Oh, little stubby little body. I've never had to do a peg swap, but I was kind of like playing around with it this morning and she's a little sticky and stiff. So we're gonna do a little peg swap. These older generation LPS are made with a peg doohickey that consists of a plastic outer shell and a metal spring interior, which is the mechanism that helps their heads bobble and turn. But with kids, they tend to get their toys like wet and gross, so there's a fair amount of older generation LPS with rust problems around their neck areas. I'm so sorry. I'll make it up to you one day. I didn't want to leave her with a really sticky, tacky peg, so I warmed her up and took an LPS Panda to use as a neck peg donor. The neck peg switching wasn't as difficult as I thought it would be, so I am very glad for that. That one's much better. feel like the amount of times that I show people which clay I use versus the amount of times I've asked what clay I use, I have to do the usual where I go, here's the clay that I'm using, and here is the clay that I'm using. Here's the clay that I'm using today. All right, let's get into it. Here's the clay I'm using. I'm using a nail file to Here is the clay that I'm using. I'm using a nail file to create a gritty base for our clay to stick to. And now I'm using an eye pin to be an armature for the tail. No, I'm not lighting this candle for vibes. I am heating up the eye pin, but you do know me well. We need a hot wire to insert it into the thick plastic, and then you can kind of shape the wire however you want. Last time I did this, people got mad at me because I didn't realize I had wire cutters on my pliers. They didn't get mad at me. They told me off though. They were like, why are you ruining your scissors? I didn't know that. Okay, we're gonna try it though. Where do I? Should be fine, like right there. Thanks, guys. I usually use a bit of super glue to attach the clay to the body, but I'm gonna be using, okay, the lid's not unscrewed, Sculpey oven bake adhesive to stick the clay to the base today, so that'll be pretty interesting to try. It adheres polymer clay to other materials when baked. I just started getting anxious about the fumes from super glue when you put it in the oven, but apparently I'm still okay putting this LPS in the oven for 10 minutes. I don't know, you win some, you lose some. I'm picking my battles, and the battle that I'm picking is inhaling plastic fumes so that I don't have to use resin-based air dry clay because I hate sculpting with gloves on. I feel like when I sculpt after not sculpting for like 2 weeks, I'm like a baby learning how to walk for the first time, except the baby is also on roller skates and there's like a really big flight of stairs and they're actually expected to do a 360 Godzilla rail flip off the railing and there is also no railing. I find the sculpting process to be very satisfying when it turns out. I love adding tufts and fluffs. I feel like it adds so much personality to the pet, and if you have a specific style, it helps kind of elevate that. Would it be so bad if I gave her some chonkier toes back here? Today we are rocking with some Harney & Sons Earl Grey, my bedtime tea, which is 1 Earl Grey, a little bit of frothed milk, a dash of vanilla, and a little bit of cinnamon on top. So definitely try that if you like a little sleepy time tea. Sculpting the tail is an uphill battle for me. I kind of sort of sculpt the basic shape out of clay and then guide it onto the wire so that I have a base shape that relatively matches what I'm going for, and then I can cut and sculpt until I get what I'm looking for. Lots of shaping and cutting, and then adding support adhesive. I also wanted to let you guys know, if you didn't hear in my Roblox video, that I am extending to international shipping on my shop. I am working through that right now, and the new places that I will be shipping will be listed on the screen. Hopefully my next shop update. Keep an eye out and subscribe to my newsletter if you are interested in hearing when that will happen. Now that she's fully baked, I'm adding quick dry super glue onto the neck peg to make sure it sets in place. Then I shave the neck peg down so I can attach it a lot easier later. I go back in with my nail file and make sure everything is flush with the plastic. After using the Sculpey adhesive for the first time, I realized one thing I don't really love about it is that when I use super glue, it dries very flat. But this dries kind of like clay, so it ends up being a lot lumpier and makes the blending harder. I found that the plastic lip around the bottom of her head was a bit distracting, so I decided to shave that down as well. I want to prime the polymer clay for painting, so I'm using a layer of thinned out Mod Podge on the polymer clay parts to cover them. Why did I just cut the tiniest little hole in the lid? and now we dry brush the base with a bit of white paint. Some people swear by this, me, and others don't, but I like pretending that it helps with the paint adhesion. I think it does, but that's just me. I know a lot of you are in the States, and in the States you have Thanksgiving in late November, I believe. Well, in Canada, we have Thanksgiving in October, so we get double whammy Halloween Thanksgiving in the same month, which means October is like the ultimate autumn month, and it gets really busy, I'll admit. Though it's frustrating when your favorite season is fall, and the day after Halloween is done you hear, "I don't want..." No, I do not want to hear Mariah Carey until mid-November. You can kind of see where the residue is. I'm going to go in and sand the feet once more because I am not super happy with the shape of everything, so. Some cozy fall things I've been enjoying lately as we lead up to Halloween. Creepcast by Meat Canyon and Wendigoon. I am a busy lady, and so being able to listen to creepypasta being narrated at me is very nice, because I am a big fan of creepypasta, SCP, cryptid, whatever. So viewer discretion, but I really like the way that they narrate. I think it's really funny. My partner and I just started playing Night in the Woods. I played it a long time ago and I really love everything about it. It's cozy and interesting and the story flows really well, and I'm really excited to show him everything. And I've been reading Turtles All the Way Down by John Green because I am enjoying getting back into my reading habit. And this week I also made some banana bread with cinnamon, and it was quite good. Time for her, like, little cutie patootie mustache thing. I'm a little bit worried to mess this up. That's okay. Nothing bad will happen except for the mental breakdown that is induced. Like a little tiny mustache. Just ate a ton of chocolate and does not know how to handle it. That is so cute. It is such a shame that I can't give her eyebrows. I had this idea to do these like little, I don't know, patterns in her ears because I thought it would be kind of cool, but like I don't know if it's gonna translate. Ooh, it kind of reminds me of like Animal Jam. Oh my gosh, I like that. Oh, it's so Animal Jam. Oh my god. It's always the other side that I don't even know. We're also going on a fall trip soon, and I'm really excited to just relax and enjoy their fall festivities, maybe draw in some coffee shops with my partner, who is also an artist, and then in the evenings we rented an Airbnb with a big fireplace, and we're gonna watch Halloween movies and make those stupid pumpkin Pillsbury cookies. You know what I'm talking about, you know, and I am very hyped. I'm so excited. I'm going to be using some chalk pastels to give her a cutie little rosy nose. I know foxes of this type don't have pink noses, but I just love how sweet pink noses look. So foxes also don't normally have swirls in their ears and hats and capes, so don't come at me. Now I'm using a mix of water and Mod Podge to seal her. Don't put this on her eyes if you plan on using resin to gloss them, because you'll trap water under it and it'll get all funky. I use a little bit of super glue in her neck and then guide the neck peg in with a blade for a snug fit. This is after I have shaped her neck peg down a little bit and then made the hole in her body a bit bigger with a knife. Not shown, but that's kind of how I've been doing it lately. Okay, so I drew everything on her and didn't really think about the fact that I didn't really have any of those things. So I'm gonna go get those things. 1 second. We're going to Michael's. I don't know how to sew. I don't know anything. We're going to Michael's. Okay, I kind of want to see if I can find any ribbon that might do wonders as their little shawl. I'm struggling. I literally only need like 3 beads for each side, but I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm always a mess at the art store because I'm like, oh, this is good. Oh, this is good. And then all of a sudden I'm just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. First thing I grabbed was this velvet ribbon. I don't really know how well velvet ribbon cuts, but I just thought it was so beautiful. I bought these 2 sets of beads for hanging off the side of her glasses. I haven't really decided how I'm going to make them stay on her head yet. Next, I wasn't sure if I wanted to paint the patterns on her hat or embroider them, and because I like to make things hard for myself and I'm a perfectionist, we're going to be embroidering today. Then for the little patch on her poncho, I got this dark forest green. Then I grabbed just this big sheet of felt. Can you guess, if I hadn't used a bunch of discounts, how much this would be at Michael's in Canada? If your answer was $40, you would be correct. I got it down to 20, which I feel like is what this should have cost anyway. I don't know what I'm doing, okay? But just for funsies, just cut off a little bit and see what I can do. I mean, because it's not fraying. I mean, it's fraying a little bit. You want to see my pirate sleeves? I got pirate sleeves on. Pirate sleeves! Do a flip! I'm using a 20 gauge wire to make the rims of her glasses. I have had this tiny Barbie pasta container since I was like 6. I wrap it around the Barbie pasta in order to get a rough shape and then pinch it into an oval. Hey! You know what? That's not bad. Okay, now for the middle part. I'm just gonna go shot in the dark here and put a little bit of glue here because I can always just rip it off. No harm, no foul. Oh! I messed up. They're gonna look like a little old lady, I think. We're gonna use some eye pins. I'm putting some beads onto some eye pins and then curling in the open edge to go on their glasses' arms. And then I use a bit of gel resin to make the connection stronger. The resin also helps to soften the edges of the wire so that there's no risk of scratching the paint on her face. I don't love the look of the tiny glasses that are made with a lot of wire coiling in on itself. I wanted it to be very simple looking, but honestly, these are so delicate that I understand why that's the best way to do it. These snap so easily, even with all the extra reinforcements. I broke them off camera after I was done. And then I paint them with a dark brown color to get that dark academia type look. I gloss them with matte Mod Podge, and I attach the beaded parts with super glue and add more beads to the arms to balance them out. These also help hug the back of her head more so that they stay on. Okay, time for the hat. All I have to trace is this little container that I keep Calcifer's whiskers in whenever I find them on the floor. The essence of it is there. For the hat, I used a doll hat tutorial, but I was really just flying by the seat of my pants. I don't know what that means, but I'm gonna guess that it means that I was flying by the seat of my pants. I started by cutting a circle of fabric using a circle stencil on cardstock. Then I fold the cardstock into 4 sections and cut out one of those sections to create the pointy part of the hat. I I needed to figure out how to get this on our fox girl because the doll tutorials do not account for the cutest, fluffiest earsies peeking out. So I had to get a bit creative.
That's so cute!
I cut a long strip into the base of the hat to account for her ears.
Wait a minute. I might be able to get this to work. Okay. See, now I'm nervous. Like an ear hole? I don't normally do fabric stuff, so I'm being really brave. Oh. Ah! This is not working.
I will kid you not, this part of the video is not a tutorial. I actually made a slightly bigger hat after this using the same technique, but I actually glued the two pieces together before I cut the ear holes in the top part, so it kind of keeps its shape a little bit better. Because I was noticing that the front of the hat, when I cut the ears into it, started to flatten out. Unfortunately, it was really small and there was so much experimenting that I wasn't super confident embroidering in the hat, though I wanted to reinforce it with sewing on the back seam. I thought that the small detail of sewing on the back of the hat would look really cute, and so I used the same green embroidery thread to sew the back of the hat shut. Lots of trimming, lots of altering, and cutting inside the hat and outside the hat, but eventually with all the tweaking, I am finally glad that I got it kind of how I wanted. Onto the last outfit piece, we are doing their poncho. I wanted to try out a few patterns on this scrap fabric because I am not really sure how to make sewing patterns, especially cutting into ribbon. In hindsight, I should have just got some fabric to make their poncho, but I just fell in love with that ribbon that I found, and I thought that the structure to it would be really nice.
We look. Yeah, no.
We do go a little off script with the poncho because I felt like the sewn patch on it wouldn't turn out as well as I wanted, so we did some improv. I disregarded the scalloping because I knew that it wouldn't turn out as nice as I pictured it after working with the ribbon a little bit, so I'd rather do something simpler and make it really nice.
Fire, 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 fire.
I did make a bit of an accident while cutting, so I thought it would be really cute to embrace it and bring back the green thread and sew up their poncho the same way that I sewed up their hat. For the bow on the front, I put some stretchy wire and colored it in with Sharpie. Then I tied it into a teeny bow and found a cute nail charm that makes for the cutest little button brooch to go on the front, so I glued that on too. Then I coated it all in Mod Podge so that it would keep its shape and wouldn't rub onto the customs paint at all. I super glued the poncho on because I am not big brain enough to make a mechanism to take it on and off, couldn't find my Velcro, and it is so delicate as well that I would just prefer to keep it on them. I super glued the bow onto the front of the poncho as well. As I said, I wasn't really feeling the green patch, so instead I opted for some star and moon motifs. I grabbed some more nail charms and then glued them onto the poncho. As always, I like to ask everyone what they think their name should be. Let me know in the comments. I usually will pick one. I'm really happy with how she turned out. Obviously, I did have to change a couple things, but you know what? That comes with making art and being flexible and trying new things, because I was not very confident with fabric, but I did kind of just try my best to do what I could. And I think that's really important. So yeah.